Hello, everybody. Welcome to topic 4. Dr. Lemster here. I can't believe that we are halfway through our course at this point. If you have any questions or concerns, please make sure that you are reaching out to me so that we can chat through any issues and, of course, want to always be helpful to you guys. Okay, we are heading into topic 4, which is using STEM tools for presentations. The objectives for us set by the college for this topic are to 1, analyze how various forms of technology enhance presentations. 2, identify technological tools and strategies used to present STEM content and apply them to enhance presentations. And 3, to utilize a variety of STEM tools to enhance presentations. As in previous topics, we have 2 discussion questions. The first one is due by Wednesday, and the second one is due by Friday. For the first discussion question, we are talking about the possible use of social media in class and how you would deal with potential dangerous issues such as cyberbullying if you were to use social media, to have your students communicate or collaborate on work. For the second discussion question, we are looking at the criteria that we think should be included when we are assigning presentation projects to our students. So as we know, digital presentations are really great ways for our students to show us that they are grasping those concepts, they are meeting those learning objectives. But as you have your students communicate and work together, what do you think are some criteria that should be included for successful completion when you do assign presentation projects? Okay, for our assignment in this topic, it is called STEM presentation. There is a rubric, so please make sure that we are viewing the rubric before we start the assignment, and I highly recommend that you review the rubric before you submit the assignment just to make sure that you have everything and there's nothing that you missed. This assignment does consist of 2 parts, and there is a template for it. So the template can be found off to the right side in the class resources. So it is this one here, ELM 463, STEM tools for presentations. And then you will also need the class profile here, also located in the resources to complete the assignment. The template is one that we have used before, so I'll show you that one in just a second here. One thing that I wanted to point out is that there is a small discrepancy between the word count here and between the word count on the actual template. So here it says 100 to 150 word description of the learning activity and how the students will utilize the chosen presentation tool. And then when you click on the template, I believe it says 250 words minimum. So we will go ahead and go with the smaller word count, 100 to 150 words. Okay, so part 1 here, I'm just going to show you the template and we'll walk through that piece. Again, it is very similar to work we have already done in this class. And then there is a part 2 reflection piece. APA format is not required, but solid academic writing is expected. Again, there is a rubric and we will submit this assignment to Lopes Wright. Okay, let's go ahead and hop over to look at the actual template. Again, it's going to look really familiar, so that is good news. Okay, so here is our template, and I'll just kind of walk you through. You can see the text I have added just to model through this in the green color there. So what we are doing is we are choosing 2 STEM standards. You can use the Next Generation Science Standards, NGSS, or you can use your state-specific standards. I chose to just use Arizona Standards. This is for 4th grade. I can tell by the number starting here 4, and then this is for Earth and Space Science in Arizona Standards, and I can tell by the letter E. So I chose used models to explain seismic waves and their effect on Earth. And then I chose define problems and design solutions to minimize the effects of natural hazards. And then what I did is I took those STEM standards and created 2 learning objectives. So my first one is I can explain the effects of seismic waves and their effects on Earth using models. And then I can design solutions that minimize the effect of natural hazards. So this kind of supports the first one and the second one. What I did underline here was the verbs, so use models and then to explain seismic waves. And we really want to avoid using double verbs when we write our learning objectives. So that's why I kind of trimmed it down. And then The same for the second one. So we've got define problems, design solutions, and we have minimize the effects of natural hazards. So sometimes when we look at the STEM standards, we have to really kind of challenge ourselves, you know, what is really the meat of the standard? What is the big gist of it? And then sometimes all the other little verbs are things that we won't necessarily exclude, but they are things that can be included in our assignment rather than included in our learning objective. And then some verbs that we really want to avoid when we're writing our learning objectives, because learning objectives are for students and they should be used to guide students and really communicate that expectation or that learning outcome. So we want to avoid things like understand, know, learn, appreciate, or grasp, because those are not measurable. So we want to avoid saying things like the student will be able to understand XYZ, or the student will be able to know XYZ, or the student will learn XYZ. We want to make sure that we are clear in that verb. Okay, so the next part, you will create a description of the presentation tool. So I chose for the modeling here just to use Adobe Spark. And so this is a tool that will allow students to create visual stories and presentations. It allows students to create voiceovers as they are creating their presentation, and it allows students to work together in real time. This presentation tool, it can come from the topic 3 assignment that you already created, or you can create a new presentation tool or find a new presentation tool. It doesn't matter to me which one. So for me, for example, I actually created a new one here. So Adobe Spark is not the same one that I used for the topic 3 assignment. So you can change it up, or you can use what you've already found. And then here you're going to have the description of the learning activity and how the students will utilize that presentation tool. So I start by just kind of introducing the background knowledge that students will need, and then how I am then going to introduce the new subject of seismic waves, including P waves and S waves, the causes of them, and then those effects on the Earth's surface. And then I'll introduce students to tectonic plate boundaries and how that is all related to seismic activity. And then just for some sort of tangible hands-on practice for students, I put that I'll have students using a Slinky toy to practice modeling the 2 types of seismic waves. This is something that I used to do when I taught 7th grade Earth and Space Science. And then students will use clay to stimulate the 3 tectonic plate boundaries. And then this is where that presentation tool comes in. So Adobe Spark, so having the students group together to collaborate on a visual presentation. Okay, and then the rest of it is just the differentiation piece. So this is where that class profile will come into play. You guys have all done a really great job on previous assignments when we are using that class profile to figure out how we will differentiate for 3 learners that we select. And then part 2, that reflection piece can go here on the very, very bottom. Okay, so that is pretty much the gist for the assignment. If you have any questions or concerns, you can let me know and I'm happy to help you out. Take care. Have a blessed week.